Front housing. Came out pretty clean. There is definitely a felt in there. It's held inside like a hexagonal stamped thing. That's so hard to see, but it's definitely in there. I'll clean as much of it as I can. And the bearing going through, you can see, you know, we'll see how that cleans up. I haven't run anything through there yet. And we'll see what we end up with. Here's the rear, same deal. There's some dust abound. And we'll try to remember to get inside. And here's the rear housing. So I'll do a little before and after photo on it. Okay. Sorry, you can't see anything if my stupid fat arm is in the way. We're just trying to get as much of it as we can out of there, really, without hurting these wires. This front side was easier because it's not as attached. And I'll hit it with a little alcohol and paper towel. The moisture helps to get any extra, and then we'll be good to move on to the next step. Give you an idea of what's coming out of the back of this thing, and it still don't look that pretty. So yeah, there's a lot of crap in there. I'm sure the front will be the same. Now, here's a bit of an idea. Sorry if the wind is a problem, but this is the warmest day I got to do this, and because of all the sawdust, I'm really doing this outside. We're going to run the Q-tip on the inside. We do want to get the bearing. I'm going to do that last. There's a lot of stuff built up on the inside here. So we're going to run this around and see what we loosen up. And you can see we're getting some stuff out of there. The rear one was actually worse. And the bad news is that what I'm not finding is a lot of bad oil. The bearing itself, the bronze bearing in the rear, had very little gunk or anything on it, which sounds good, but actually what that means is that this fan was never really oiled. You know, it was a shop fan, and you know how it is in a shop. You run it until it's dead, and then you buy another one. The guys that have shops don't have time to be fiddling with these things because they got to make money and get the cabinets out of the door or whatever it is that they're doing. And I understand that. So see, from the bearing itself, which I just did, we're not getting a lot of stuff out of there. It's pretty dry, which explains the conditions we found the bearings to be in. And this recessed area wasn't as bad as the back. The one in the back, as you saw, a lot of crap came out of there. So I'm going to do this a few more times just so that I feel like I did enough, and then we're going to kind of worried about these little fibers that I'm leaving in there. And then I'll let this dry good so that all the alcohol and water is this. So I'm using alcohol. Some people use a carb cleaner, which probably doesn't have water in it, which would be better. But this is what I had. It's what I'm using, and so far I've had decent results with it. So there's the bearing on the front. There are some unhappy looking spaces there, but again, we're just going to get it together and run it and see what it runs like. We're not going to worry about it too much. So there you go. That's how you do that. That's how I do it anyway. There are many ways to do these different things that we're doing here, but that's what the front bearing sort of looks like. It's not the prettiest, but hopefully it'll run. And there you go. Thanks for watching. So attached to the motor is this little box, and I thought it might be some sort of a speed coil, but obviously not. This is obviously a 2-speed motor, and all these really are the splices that attach the cord. So, whatever else the red and the green are. So that's how that looks like it works, and I'm going to leave this cord is in good shape. I'm just going to clean off any dirt with the 409. It should be okay. Certainly just to get this back together, but I inspected the cord and everything looks good, so we should be good to go. Oiling! I tend to over oil, but we do want to get some oil around the outside where the felt is. You see? No, you can't see. You're not going to be able to see all this, but I'm just going to put some in there. And we'll see if it soaks in. We don't want to go crazy because we don't want it to not soak in and then be running all over Kingdom friggin' Come. So it looks like it soaked in. I'll put a little more. We're not going to overdo it because that can be worse. We haven't even seen this thing run yet. So I put $4 worth of oil in it if it's going to chatter and the motor is a disaster. So we'll find out. That soaked in pretty good. I'm going to run a little down in the bearing itself. I just like to run it right through. Just make sure that we got some good coverage. A little waste in this part of the process, but there you go. So there's the front half. Now I'm going to do the rear half off camera because you're not going to be able to see me do it anyway. So that's the next part, and then we'll start putting this thing back together. All right, we are very close to starting to really reassemble this. The only thing I haven't done is prepped the 2 rods and bolts. They have a little sawdust on them, and then this is ready. This is clean and ready to get oiled and drop back in. So we're going to do that. The rear bearing took a good amount of oil too, but again, I was careful not to over oil it because you can have problems with that. So let me oil this up, and hope you can see some of this on the video. You might not be, I'm not sure. Okay, I've forgotten a step, which is the washers. I got to kind of prep those, get sawdust off them. I might not use the one on the front for now. I don't know what to do about that thing that fell off and broke. I don't want to put it in there in pieces because you've got other pieces coming off. I don't know, it sounds dumb, but it'll rattle. I don't know, I'm worried about that. For now, I might not do anything except just put it back together with what isn't broken. That's sort of the plan. So what we've got here is the plastic washer and then the little metal sleeve or cover with the little fiber wall. It's like almost, it seems to me like some sort of a board, particle board stuff. I don't know, cork with red. I don't know what it is, but there's 2 of these, and then I broke the other one for the front, so I haven't decided what to do with that yet. All right, I've got the rear of it oiled, and I'm just going to dump it in. Hopefully the washers stay in their spot. And there we go. It's in. All right, next part. Sorry for the garbage truck in the background. Next step will be to oil the front shaft so that that's prepared for re-entry, and we have our screws, bolts, and washers. So we're ready to rock. I'm putting the rest of it together. I'm told that these are self-aligning bearings, so then once you get it together, you tap on the shaft, you try it and make sure it's all good, you tighten it all up, you keep trying it, tap it. So we'll do all that stuff, so here we go. Interesting motor. Okay, everything went back together. These are finger tight right now, and it's not like you can see the air through the motor. It's not like a normal front and back electric motor where the halves are squeezed together. This has got some space, as you can see. I think that's the point of the points, the 4 points. It kind of goes together like that. So we're going to tighten it up and a little bit and tap the bearing and see how free it is. Alright, it was close, but now it's been nice and free. At first it was binding. It wasn't until I got these all the way tight so that it was all the way together. And now, yeah, my fingers are even a little greasy and it's spinning pretty nice. Don't have too much sound. You can't hear much for the shrieking kids in the yard over there, but that spins pretty free. So we are in business, I think, to get this mounted back up and see if it runs.